So here are our TPS grown potato seedlings. Some of them, as you can see, are starting to tuberize in the little plug sheets. So it's time to get them transplanted out, even though it's a little bit early seasonally. Last year I planted out my TPS plants really late and they didn't do so well. This year I'm kind of erring on the side of excessively early, and so the danger being extreme frost, although it's been a pretty mild spring more or less. So but when they start to tuberize like this, sometimes that means the plants are stressed and are feeling root bound, and sometimes it just means that their genetics are skewed towards earliness, and you don't really want them to overdo it in the plug sheet because that will give you an inaccurate assessment of the genetics of that plant. So these 6 are from a seed called Amy Azul. They seem prone to tuberizing early, so we're going to transplant all of these guys out. You can see I have my whole wheelbarrow full of my TPS plants, and yeah, so we'll just do that really quickly. I thought it'd be worth showing just the difference in foliage amongst the various seedlings. So these guys are diploids, and you can kind of see they're more feathery, and then your more standard tetrapoid foliage, which is kind of fleshier with larger individual leaflets. But there's a lot of variation, in the plants themselves. You can see, like that guy, see all that blue color in the seedling leaves? That's probably an indication that maybe that guy's got some blue flesh genes. There's some more. Anyway, that doesn't always mean the tuber will be blue or that the internal flesh will be blue, but it's a indicator that it's possible. I wanted to kind of point out a couple of things on some of these seedlings that you'll almost definitely see if you start growing out your own potatoes from seed. I don't know. Well, these are both from some Tolokan seed, and you can kind of see the difference in them. This one has purple stems. This one has just nice plain green stems. But the thing I wanted to point out is how unruly they're behaving. The stems, the side shoots from the nodes are going all over the place. You can see they've sprouted up from the surface from lower nodes here, and these are and then here on this one, you can see this came from the stem over here, and it kind of came around, and then popped out of the soil. And here's this one on this side. So these are going to be sending out runners, basically, the rhizomes, almost like rhizomes. So the plant is not going to just stay put in a nice focused little place. You could have this plant popping up 3 or 4 feet away. And that's something that, if you're just used to growing commercial potato varieties, you're going to be surprised by that, because commercial breeders breed that stuff out because a commercial potato grower does not want their varieties popping up outside of their rows, And so potatoes are capable of all kinds of unruliness like this. But until you grow them out from seed, you're never going to see that because the breeders cull this stuff out. I'm kind of curious to see how these turn out. So I'm going to plant them, and then I'll show you what they look like in a couple of months. So what we've got here is a furrow that I've dug in the field, and we're going to transplant the plants down into the bottom of the furrow right up to the very top of the plant. So we're going to bury almost the entirety of the stem, and then we're going to mark each packet of seed with the name. And you can see I've got, what I like are these wooden stakes painted with latex paint. So we put some compost down in the bottom of the furrow here, and that's about all the fertility I'm going to give them. Potatoes don't need a huge amount, and you know, planting this early is a little bit of a gamble, but I'm hoping that we've already gotten past our really severe hard frosts, although we've had them much later than this in the past. But also I'm hoping that with soil heat storage, you know, down here in the bottom of the furrow, and then I'm going to cover this with row cover, that these will be enough protection that they'll make it, and then they'll have a long cool growing period versus the hot, dry, short growing period they had, that, you know, my TPS plants had last year. And even if they do frost off at the top, hopefully there's enough energy stored in the plant and in the parts that are underneath now that they would have the potential to resprout even if they did get burned. We'll see. Then these are going to get hilled up just like normal potatoes, you know, and starting them here deep in the bottom of the trench, you know, they'll have a chance to grow and have as many nodes to form tubers on as possible. Here's another one that's sort of got a tuber started. Okay, so that's about 150 TPS potato plants in 3 rows. So each one is an individually genetically distinct potato versus, you know, normally where you're planting one clone of a single genetic variety. So this will be a really interesting group of potatoes to follow, and I will make probably an update video during the growing season, and I'll probably make a video of harvesting these guys. So yeah, so thanks a lot for watching.